Hi guys, and welcome to another edition of Burning Issues. So today I want to do something a little bit different. I'm going to show or discuss the analogy between golf and business stroke life. So when you go to start golf, you start to play golf and learn. You have absolutely no idea what you're doing. You might have seen it on TV, think it looks pretty simple. You just put the club behind the ball, you swing, ball flies in the air, and you just figure out which club to use, how far to hit it, that kind of thing. All of a sudden, you get your first lesson, you realise very, very quickly there are so many components in the swing, in how you've got to think about the swing, which club to use, how steep, the angle, like all these different variables. And it's very, very, very difficult when you first start, even if you're a talented sports person, to actually hit the ball and hit the ball consistently. As you put more time into it, you put more practice into it, you put more hours into it, and you put the more repetitions in, slowly but surely you learn and it becomes second nature. And when it becomes second nature, all of a sudden then you can start experimenting a bit with opening the club face up, hitting different shot shapes, all these sorts of things. But then you do have periods of time, as I'm going through right now, where for some reason you just can't hit the ball. Then all of a sudden your thoughts are just negative. I can't play. I'm no good at this. I want to give up. You've also then got the golfer's drug, I suppose, where you may have had a bad round or playing bad recently, and then you think the next time you go out there, mainly without any practice or doing anything differently, you're going to step on that first tee, you're going to play a great round, and occasionally you do, but generally speaking you don't. And again, the reason for this is going back to when you first started. You're not putting the practice in. Einstein's theory of doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results, his definition of insanity, springs to mind. And that's something that I've been doing. So look at it personally. I've been turning up to the course every Monday, playing with my father and my grandfather, and expecting to play well and expecting to hit really good shots. But I'm putting no effort in. I'm not during the week practicing in any way, shape, or form. And the same to be said of life, right? You don't start out in a business. You don't start out in any endeavor being particularly good. You might be naturally a bit better than the average, but generally speaking, it takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of dedication to get good at something. And then when you are good at something, you've still got to keep putting that work in, because if you don't, all of a sudden you just get rusty. And if you take some time off, like you might do in golf during the winter time in the UK and not play until the summer, you've then got a lot of time to catch back up. So realistically, the takeaway is to keep learning, keep practicing in what you're doing. Enjoy the repetitions, enjoy the process of learning, of trying, of doing. And if something isn't working for you, like your swing, get a lesson, go speak to an expert, go speak to someone that's a mentor, speak to somebody that's already achieving in the areas that you're maybe not achieving in. And those people will be able to help you, be able to guide you. At the very least, you might disagree with what they've got to say, but at least you're doing something about it. Rather than, with the analogy, turning up to the course every Monday and expecting to play better than the previous Monday. Well, that's just going to be fluke. It's like using the same sales tactic 1,000 times over and it hasn't worked, and thinking the next 1,000 will work. And some do, some don't. Well, is that fluke? Is that you've improved? Have you iterated? Have you learned from the previous mistakes? Have you put in the hours of practice that's required to get better at your craft? So yeah, that's my kind of general thoughts on golf. I mean, just to really hammer home, I had a lesson with the golf pro the other week, and he told me you need to put this here and do this there, and all of a sudden I've got all these thoughts, and actually it's so overwhelming. And to think that I ever played golf without having to have any of those thoughts and just naturally put the ball on the tee or walked in the fairway and hit the ball onto the green without much of a thought, right now feels like a long way off. But as I put more hours in, as I get more lessons, as I learn from more of an expert, and I'm humble enough to accept that I'm not the finished article. It never will be in anything, but particularly in golf, you've got to keep working on it. And you look at professionals, right? They miss shots, they make mistakes. Back in the golf analogy, if you watch any tournaments, they're not making perfect shots every single time. They're making a lot of mistakes. And so for you as an amateur to think that you're going to be great every time is you're setting yourself up for a fall. Your expectations versus reality, I've talked about this before, it equals your happiness. And if you're expecting your golf performance to be better than the pro and always perfect and never a mistake, and the reality is you are going to make mistakes and you can't manage that. If you think about it, then you're on the course. The big, a big proponent of golf, what they call the bounce back ability. So you've had a bad shot, a bad hole, bad 2 holes. Can you bounce back and then start playing better? And again, I think that's a good thing to think about in life. You may have had a bad hour in the day or a bad day or two, but don't let that run over and spill over to ruin the full 18 holes or ruin the full week or the full month. So yeah, I think there's a lot of lessons that we can take from golf and sport in general. It's also, as we know, a great tool for meeting clients, a great tool for just getting out of your own head and challenging yourself, which I think is always a good thing. So love to know your thoughts on my little golf analogy. And yeah, speak to you again. Thanks, guys.